Hi everybody, how are you? I have came on today to talk to you about my soundboards. So I have got two soundboards here and they have just been uploaded on Etsy. And I have put a wee bit of an explanation on Etsy, but I think sometimes it's really hard to kind of explain when you're talking about sounds, because you want to say the sound, and when you're typing it, you can't say it. So when you're writing a letter, it's very difficult for people to understand whether you mean to say it as an ah or say it as a. Because in our English language, as we all know, we don't make things easy. So I am going to try and explain it verbally on this video as well. Okay, so I've made two soundboards. This, I was mainly, when I taught primary 3 for a long time. So I would have mainly used this soundboard with my class and sometimes used this one, but I kind of made this one more for kind of the younger children. And I still would have used it sometimes, but this was kind of the one that I used a lot. So I'm going to kind of use this as my example of how I would explain it to the children, but it's much the same for here. It's just these endings which I've added in at the bottom. I will have a wee bit of a discussion about that at the end. So I'm hoping that I can get through this without making any major mistakes. So far I've tried to do it about 7 times and I keep deleting it and then starting again, so let's go for it. Okay, so if I had a class, a brand new class, I would have made every child one of these and they would have took it out every single day, and the first thing that we would have done, we would have just tried to familiarise ourselves with the board. So I used to do something 5 minutes every single day. 5 minutes a day is always key. I always say do things for 5 minutes a day and that's plenty, and that's how children remember things. Well, one of the many ways. But upside down. I would have said a wee chant with the children. So we've got our vowels here. And I would have explained to the children, right, so our vowels can say ah, but they also can sometimes say their name. A, E, I, O, U. All of these sounds in this particular way can sometimes make the sound say its name. Now here we've got A on its own. Sometimes it'll say ah. On this occasion, it's saying A. So sometimes she will say ah, and sometimes she will say a. Just to trick you, just to make it complicated. Now, the children would chant each of these sounds with the picture, like this. We would say, A is for acorn, A is for train, A is for play, A is for 8, A is for bread. Then we would go to E. E is for equals, E is for B, E is for eagle, E, I know it's the letter Y, but we would say E is for baby, E is for key, E is for field. And then we say I is for pilot, I is for pie, I is for fly, because it's making an I sound, I is for light. And then we would keep going. O is for tomato, O is for coat, O is for bow, and so on and so on. When we came to Magic E, the way we did it in class, we talked about how I call it Magic E. My story was, Magic E sits there quite quietly, doesn't say a thing. However, he has a little bit of fairy dust and he throws it way over and it lands on the other vowel's head and it makes the other vowel say its name. So we would say, Magic E makes A say A. Magic E makes A say E. Magic E makes S say I. Magic E makes O say O. Magic E makes U say U. And that's how we would do it. Then at the bottom here, I've got some sounds that are not vowel sounds, okay? We've got I for Kai, I for Clyde, Oi for toy, Oi for coin, O for paw, O for sauce. So we would go over that every single day and we would just chant it out just until we were familiar. And my recommendation is to do that every day. Just take it out and just do it for 5 minutes and then put it away. 3 minutes, put it away. And every single day do it. Then we would add to it and I would start saying, point at, I for light. Well, it's got to be I. And it's good to get the children to go, oh, I, and then go across. O, okay, it must be an O one. O, and then go across. Okay, so I would say, okay, so can you point at O for coat? Can you point at A for play? Can you point at E for baby? Oh, baby. Now, with Y, I've always told children that we've got our vowels, A, E, I, O, U. And they are so busy, so busy. Running around making words. Without the vowels, we wouldn't have words. We'd just have random yucky sounds coming out of our mouths. However, sometimes they're so busy, they need help. And the letter Y helps them, because you'll only get some words that don't have a vowel if they have the letter Y. So we're thinking my, try, shy, fly. Those letters don't have a vowel, but they have the vowel's friend, the letter Y, because he sometimes helps out, because these vowels are so busy that sometimes Y has to help out. And that's the story I always tell the children. It's a good one, it helps them remember it, okay? Okay, so we would then start pointing at the sounds, and then we'd take it up to another level. I would take a whiteboard, and I would say, so keep the signboard in front of them, and I'd say, can you write O for toe? So they would go, O, 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 E, O, E. So it's making them really focus on the actual letters. I would say, can you write U for books? Now, I say, it's U here. I tend to say oo a lot, because a lot of these sounds don't quite say U, they say oo. Okay, so it depends. For me, I would kind of tend to say oo, but the children still got it. U or oo, they got it fine. I would say, okay, can you write A for bread? E-A. Then I would say to them, can you point at two sounds that look the same but are making a different sound. We've got A for bread and E for eagle, and they both look the same but they're making a different sound. I would say, can you point at another two? Here we go. O for bow, but it's making I for cow over there. So it's making the same letters but they're making different sounds, and it's just playing wee games to get them to explore it. The next stage that I would take it up to, I would say, okay, right, you're getting really good at this. Point at, I for fly. Can you spell shy? Now, if they know their sh sound, then they just need to add the Y, and that's it. If you can point at O for coat, can you write O for boat? So go over, I know it's O-A, so I just have to get the first sound and the last sound. So I want to spell B-O-T, and that's all I have to think about. But you've got this little cue there in front of them. And then I would say, oh, if that's I for light, can you spell fright? So they're going, okay, fr-I-T. So all they're having to think about is the fr, they've got the I, and then they have to add the T. So, and so on and so on. You're building their confidence because they're saying, oh, I'm spelling these words, I'm spelling these great words. Then I would pop this out when the children are writing. So if you're doing a wee bit of homeschooling, or if they're back at school and you're doing your homework and they have to do a bit of writing, keep this out. And they might come to a word and they're stuck. So they might say, Mummy, how do you spell, I threw the ball, I threw it. And you would say, right, okay, ooh. Oh, ooh, okay. It's oo for chew. And they would go, right, okay, I know that's EW. So they would just look at that. So they'd have to still think about the sound, still dissect the word, sorry. But they're going, TH, R, ooh, it's that particular ooh, EW. And you're slowly building their confidence when it comes around. You're giving them these cues. And then eventually, if you say the cue, they won't need to look at the picture anymore. Now, I've used this with Charlie quite a lot, my little boy. And if I say A for play, he knows immediately AY. If I say, oh, E for B, EE, but you're just giving them little cues to help them remember. And then eventually, the more and more they write, they remember that that particular word had that cue with it. And it just builds their confidence, and just, it's, to me, I've personally used it for a long time, and I find it a really, really good tool. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a wee second, and then I'm going to take you onto the other soundboard. Okay, so this soundboard is a wee bit easier because you can hear the difference between each sound. The first one, all of these sounds are all saying A. All of these ones are saying E, and so on. Well, this one, they're all different. So you have got your th for ship, sorry, sh for ship, ch for chick, th for thumb, wh for wheel. And then you've got your ak, ik, ik, ok, uk ones, and your ang, ing, ang, ing, ong, and your R, I can't say it, or. Now, can I point at that one, right? This one, because I've got a Northern Irish accent, R is a really strong sound in our kind of accent, as I keep saying. So when Charlie was younger, and I was trying to get him to sound out, maybe R for car, or bird, for bird, and maybe for nurse. I can't say, the difference is so slight when I say it. So having a picture cue was really, really helpful. Even in his mind, if I was saying, oh, it's for bird, he would know, although, Mum, it sounds exactly the same as every other sound you say, Mum, but I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say IR. So that was really helpful for me, okay? Now, again, I would do the same thing. I would chant these out and just kind of get them really familiar in kids' heads. I would also say to them, like with the CK, that always before when you hear k, when you've got the two k's together, the vowel in front of it is always making the short sound, the a, o. That sound's always in front of it. Me and Charlie call it the primary one sound because he learned those sounds in primary one. So I always say, well, if it's coming like sack, you hear the s, then you hear ah, which is the short sound, k. So because of that, it's going to be CK. Okay, so he got the hang of that, when he was younger because of that kind of wee rule. And then when it became to ang, ing, ong, I used to say, well, ing's the one they use a lot. So I said it's a bit like ing, but it's ang, and that would help him remember. Okay, I'm going to go on to the endings. So here we have our endings. Now I've got sounds like, because very rarely do they sound the way they're spelt. So we've got ing. So you just need to learn that off by heart. When I had my primary one class, we used to go n, g, and then we say ing, n, g. Ed, you'll sometimes hear d, and you'll sometimes hear t. Like started, you're hearing d. I'm trying to think. Chased, you're hearing t. So when Charlie was learning this, I used to say, oh, it's an ending. It sounds like t, it sounds like d. But as soon as I said to him, it's an ending, in his mind, he remembered all these endings. And he would go, oh, well, it's ed. R, like runner, you're only hearing you're not hearing runner. You're just hearing So again, when Charlie came to spell that, I would say to him, it's an ending. And he would go, it's ER, flower. And he would just go ER. Now we've got S and ES. Again, when Charlie was spelling out words and S was at the end of it, a lot of the time he skipped the last letter and just put S. So I would always say the word without the S and then the word with the S. So if I said like cars. So I would always say it without the ending and with the ending. Okay. And again, I would say it's got an ending, it's got s at the end, so don't forget, take this off, spell the full word, and then put s back on. So he would be sounding the whole word first of all, and then he would add the S. ES. This is the one where people get tricked. Is it S or is it ES? So I've just made this for you, okay? Take a wee screenshot of this. So is it backwards for you? I'll check on the video whether it's backwards or not. But I've got here, we've got S. So if S is at the end of a word, you add ES, bus, buses. If X is at the end of a word, box, boxes. Z, buzz, buzzes. Ch, lunch, lunches, ES. And sh, dish, dishes. Okay, so that's kind of a good wee kind of way of remembering it. Obviously, I mean, I can't think of my head right now, but sometimes you'll get things that break the rules, so those happens. But these are genuinely the ones with ES at the end, okay? So that's a good way of remembering it. Maybe even writing that out and putting that somewhere handy so that your child can kind of remember that. And I think children would pick that up really, really quickly. If it's got S at the end, ES, X at the end, ES, Z at the end, ES, ch and sh. So you can make it into a wee chant. Okay, and then finally I did put Y. Now I know I've got Y in the other soundboard, but it's usually at the end of a word. Baby, smelly, stinky, and I'd say it's not a vowel, it's the vowels friend, and that'd be enough for Charlie when he was writing it to remember it's Y. And now, you know, it's second nature to him. He doesn't need to look at any soundboards or anything like that. He'll remember it because we put those wee kind of cues in there with it. I didn't want to go on too long because you want to make the video quite short, but at the same time I wanted to make it as informative as possible. If anyone has any questions, you can either message me via Big Kids Little Learners, or you can message me on YouTube, and I'm always willing to answer them and give you as much information as possible. I really hope you like the tool. I really hope it helps you, and I hope that your children enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.